Chapter 3. Then Solomon began to build the house of the Lord at Jerusalem in Mount Moriah, where the Lord appeared unto David his father, for which provision had been made in the place of David, in the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. And he began to build in the 2nd day of the 2nd month, in the 4th year of his reign. Now these are the foundations which Solomon laid for the building of the house of God. The length by cubits after the ancient measure was 60 cubits, and the breadth 20 cubits. And the porch that was before the house, the length of it, according to the breadth of the house, was 20 cubits, and the height 120. And he overlaid it with pure gold. And the greater house he covered with cypress wood, which he overlaid with fine gold, and wrought thereon palm trees and chains. And he garnished the house with precious stones of beauty, and the gold was gold of Paravim. He overlaid also the house, the beams, the thresholds, and the walls thereof, and the doors thereof, with gold, and graved cherubim on the walls. And he made the most holy place, the length thereof, according to the breadth of the house, was 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 20 cubits. And he overlaid it with fine gold, amounting to 600 talents. And the weight of the nails was 50 shekels of gold. And he overlaid the upper chambers with gold. And the most holy place he made 2 cherubim of image work, and they overlaid them with gold. And the wings of the cherubim were 20 cubits long. The wing of one cherub was 5 cubits, reaching the wall of the house. And the other wing was likewise 5 cubits, reaching to the wing of the other cherub. And the wing of the other cherub was 5 cubits, reaching to the wall of the house. And to the other wing was 5 cubits also, joining to the wing of the other cherub. And the wings of these cherubs spread themselves forth 20 cubits. And they stood on their feet, and their faces were inward. And he made the veil of blue, and purple, and crimson, and fine linen, and he wrought cherubim thereon. Also he made before the house 2 pillars of 30 and 5 cubits high. And the capital that was on the top of each of them was 5 cubits. And he made chains in the sanctuary, and put them on the tops of the pillars. And he made 100 pomegranates, and put them on the chains. And he set up the pillars before the temple, one on the right hand, and the other on the left. And he called the name of that on the right hand Yachin, and the name of that on the left Boaz. All right, let's go back up to verse 1, and we'll see that Solomon is going to begin to build the temple. This is with everything that David had prepared with. Even in the place that David had purchased for this. We're going to pick it up now in verse 1. Then Solomon began to build the house of the Lord at Jerusalem in Mount Moriah, or Moriah, where the Lord appeared unto David his father, for which provisions had been made in the place of David, in the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. And this, now we see that Solomon's going to begin to build this house of God, this house at Jerusalem, in that place of peaceful teachings on the mount. And the mount is going to be that lifted up place, that higher place, that little mound in Moriah. And that's the vision of God, and that which is lifted up, that vision. And vision probably is not a better word to choose here, but it kind of, what it is this which God wants you to understand, this which God wants you to perceive or see or understand from this. And this is that place of David, that place where David purchased. It's a threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite, where David stayed the plague which God and the angel who God had sent to destroy. And that is that threshing floor there of Ornan the Jebusite. And that threshing floor is that place where it's separated. That's the place of separation. See, that place that separates, and it represents the law of God. It represents the law of God, that which does separate the wheat from the shaft, and Ornan is those fir trees of joy. Ornan was those fir trees of joy, and those fir trees are evergreens. These represents these things that last for ever, that are lifted up even of joy. And it is that place of the Jebusite. And the Jebusites are those that thresh. They are those that thresh. And Jebus was the place of threshing too. And he began to build in the 2nd day of the 2nd month in the 4th year of his reign. And he began to build, and it was on the 2nd day. And now witness this day. Witness that's the 2nd day. And we always, anytime we see 2, we will want to witness this day, even this understanding. This day is a little understanding. It goes around in a greater cycle. We'll see even this cycle of a month, as it's pointed out here, and even a cycle of a greater period this year. And this 2nd month, now witness this month. This month represents this period of time under the moon, or even under a lesser light. Now witness this period under the lesser light, even the 4th year of his reign, this 4th year, because 4 is the work of God, and this 4th is even that portion of the work of God in that year. That's that greater understanding, that complete cycle of days and moons. 3. Now these are the foundations which Solomon laid for the building of the house of God. The length by cubits, after the ancient measure, was 60 cubits, and the breadth 20 cubits. Now, these are the foundations which Solomon laid. This is going to be how big it is, how the size of the foundation that was prepared for the house. And these are going to be the stones that it sits on. And the length of it, is going to be the purpose, and that's measured out after the ancient measures. See, after these old measures, after these measures that's been used for a long time, and we're going to find out it's the law of God that does measure, was 60 cubits, and the breadth 20 cubits. And after this ancient measure, after this measure was these 60, and that's to complete the redemption, or to complete the witness of the law. A score is 20. These cubits, and that's that which is measured out. And the breadth of it, and for its use now, it would be 20 cubits, and that's to witness the law in its measures, or for redemption in its measures. 5. And the porch that was before the house, the length of it, according to the breadth of the house, was 20 cubits, and the height 120, and he overlaid it within with pure gold. And this porch is going to be that which was added to the entry there, and it's just a roof structure that's posted up. It's open all about. That was before the house. The length of it, its determinations according to the breadth of the house, was according to the use of the house. Even that was for redemption measured out. And the height of it, its that which it would achieve, would be this judgment, 100, and redemption, even to witness the law, judgment, and to witness the law, because that is redemption. And he overlaid it within with pure gold, and it was overlaid on the inside, see, with this pure gold, even that which belongs to God. 5. And the greater house he covered with cypress wood, which he overlaid with fine gold, and he wrought thereon palm trees and chains. And in the greater house, that which the porch was attached to, with cypress wood, he covered the whole house with this cypress wood. And cypress is an evergreen tree as well. Cypress is a wood that lasts for a long time. It has endurance. It has the power to endure. And from this wood, these exalted ones that were hewn down in the forest, and he overlaid it with this fine gold. Even this fine gold, this gold that didn't need to be refined, it was pure in its state, that belonged to God anyway. And he worked thereon these palm trees and these chains. And these palm trees represent that which is upright, and it's exalted in the tree that's lifted up, which is upright. And I refer to it's that correct teaching. It's the correct understanding, and the chains. And these chains represent this thing. These are linked together. The sasua. They're linked together. It's a chain, and it makes a chain by its links, one link to another. 6. And he garnished the house with the precious stones for beauty, and the gold was gold of Parvaim. And he garnished this house. On the inside, this garnished is to decorate. He decorated it with these precious stones for beauty. See, it's beauty. It's like adding some makeup kind of to it to make it more beautiful. And the gold was gold of Parvaim, and this gold was gold from Parvaim. And this gold, that which belonged to God anyway, was that from Parvaim, and that was from these foreign regions, that which they had gathered together, and as they had went about their escapades. 7. He overlaid also the house, the beams, the thresholds, and the walls thereof, and the doors thereof with gold, and graved cherubim on the walls. And he overlays also the house, the beams, the thresholds, the walls thereof, and the doors thereof with gold. And everything was covered with gold. This was the inner house with its beams and these thresholds, all the walls thereof, the doors with gold, and engraved cherubim on the walls. And the walls always is that which encloses. That's which encloses, that which is used to separate even. And walls is kind of like the laws, and they engraved on them cherubim, and these cherubim are these angelic beings, angels, as a lot of people believe, but what they are personifications of perception, and whether we see the beautiful, wonderful goodness being personified in a being would be described as an angel, and if we seen all manner of evil personified in a being, we would look at it upon it like a demon of some sort in modern understanding, or actually would probably not be able to tell the difference, and that the judgment is goodness from God. And that's what these cherubim are. They're more like a personification of a perception. 8. And he made the most holy place, the length thereof, according to the breadth of the house, was 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 20 cubits. And he overlaid it with fine gold, amounting to 600 talents. And this most holy place, that place which is within, according to the breadth of the house, was 20 cubits, and we'll find that it's equal in its proportion. It's equal in its proportion, unlike the greater house, which is a little longer than it is wide. And this 20 cubits was the length of it. It was measured out, and the breadth of it was going to be used for this, was 20 cubits. It's to witness the law being measured out, and for redemption. It's the redemption even in its use, and he overlaid it with this fine gold, even that which belongs to God, amounting to 600 talents. And this 600 talents was the sum of the total weight, would be the work of man being in judgment, being weighed out. 9. And the weight of the nails was 50 shekels of gold, and he overlaid the upper chambers with gold. And the weight, that which was weighed out or measured out for the nails, and these nails are fasteners, things that affix one thing to another. They was 50 shekels of gold, and these 50 shekels of gold are 5 tens. See, that's grace in the law being weighed out, and this that is from God. And he overlaid the upper chambers, these chambers, these places that are above, with gold, and that's that which belongs to God. grace, judgment, the law, 10. And the most holy place he made 2 cherubim of image work, and they overlaid them with gold. And in the most holy place, and that's within the most holy place, inside the room of it, we will find that there was 2 cherubim, and this witness now, these 2 angels, or these 2 angelic beings, or these 2 personifications that we can see of image work. And that's those image work here. It's a carving, it's an engraving, it's the sculpture. It's like a sculpture, and it's overlaid with gold, and that is that which belongs to God anyway. 11. And the wings of the cherubim were 20 cubits long. The wing of the one cherub was 5 cubits, reaching to the wall of the house, and the other wing was likewise 5 cubits, reaching to the wing of the other cherub. So now from one of these angelic beings to the other, there was redemption being measured out in its length. And from the wing of the one cherub was 5 cubits. And these wings, this wing, or these borders, these limitations, this which God has established and divided thereby, that's what a border is. See, God sets the borders of all things and establishes the regions thereof. The wing of the one cherub, this personification of your understanding, was 5 cubits. And there's grace. Grace is being measured out in this one cherub, reaching to the wall of the house, and that is all the way to that which separates, even in this house. And the other wing was likewise 5 cubits. And this other wing, because each had 2 wings, see, the 2 each had 2 wings, and that's that which separates. Even they were 5 cubits, because it's grace being measured out. And they reach from to wing of the other cherub. And from one wing to the other wing do the wings reach. They touch at the tips. And the wing of the other cherub was 5 cubits, reaching to the wall of the house. And the other wing was 5 cubits also, joining to the wing of the other cherub. And they did join together at their tips, 5 cubits, because grace measured out. It's grace measured out from that which separates in the house to the other one that separates in the house, was grace measured out. 13. The wings of these cherubim spread themselves forth 20 cubits, and they stood on their feet, and their faces were inward. And the wings, these borders, these which represent, that separates, the limits, that sets the limitations of these wings of the cherubim, these angelic beings, spread themselves 20 cubits. And that's so you can witness the law in redemption. This is redemption being measured out, even in these 2 cherubim. See, both we can see, both we can witness, both were to personify the work of God in these 2 ones that he created for grace from God, for his mercy even, and that's where they are, over that which gives mercy, even the law that is within the ark, or even your heart. And they stand on their feet, and this is that which they go by. This is that which they go by, their feet. And their faces were inward, and their faces, that which is made plain, that which we can see, that which we know them by, were inward. And that is towards the inside. That is towards the inside of us. 14. And he made the veil of blue, and purple, and crimson, and fine linen, and he wrought cherubim thereon. And he made this veil, and this veil is a curtain that hangs in the door. It's that which separates, that we can see through in a shadowed way. This veil of blue, purple, and crimson, and blue and crimson combined to make purple, that which would be mingled in the middle. This is that showing the color change, this changing of color from blue, see, to the crimson, that which we can witness, and this fine linen, even that which is woven, that which is woven well. And he worked the cherubim thereon, and these cherubim, once again, are these angelic beings that represent this personification, each one in its own, having the personification of our perceptions, our understandings, this which we imagine. 15. Also he made before the house 2 pillars of 30 and 5 cubits high, and the capital that was on the top of each of them was 5 cubits. Also, as well, he made before the house these 2 pillars of 35 cubits high. And these 2 pillars, now witness these pillars, witness these things that have been stood up. They are 30 and 5 cubits high. And 30, because it's going to be to complete the law. It's for dedication. And they are 5 cubits high. And it's going to be grace measured out in their height. And the capital that was on the top of each of them was 5 cubits. And these capitals, that's that which makes up the head. They represent maybe the understanding thereof, the topping of it that goes around it, was 5 cubits high. And that was grace in its measurements. 16. And he made chains in the sanctuary, and he put them on the tops of the pillars. And he made 100 pomegranates and put them on the chains. And he made in the sanctuary, and that sanctuary, that's that place that's set aside. It's that place that's separated. It's that place that's sanctified unto God. He put them, he made these chains, and that which links one to another. And he put them on the top of the pillars. And these pillars, those things that are stood up there. And he made 100 pomegranates and put them on the chains. And he made 100 pomegranates. And 100 is judgment now. These pomegranates is a fruit. It comes from the word is Ramon. And Ramon is... I refer to it as this fruit, but it's an unacceptable fruit. It represents this unacceptable fruit. Ramon was a deity and he represented that which was unacceptable. And he put them on these chains, and he put these judgments of this unacceptable fruit on these chains, even on these that linked one to another. And 17, and he set up the pillars before the temple, one on the right hand and the other on the left. And he called the name of that on the right hand Jachin, and the name of that on the left hand, or that on the left, Boaz. And he set up these pillars, and that's what these pillars are, these that they set up. That's that which is raised up. And of course we remember God said, you shall not make yourself a pillar, that which I hate. But these here are before the house of God, and where God's going to find them acceptable, because it was all the plan of God. All this was designed by God. All this, they do the work. God is the master craftsman in it all. And they set up these pillars before the temple, one on the right hand, and that right hand is the strength even in my work. To show the strength in my work, that's going to represent the right hand. And the other on the left that you might witness, see, the work. The left, because, see, there's 2, my right hand and my left, and the 2's to witness, see, the work. And he called the name of that on the right hand, that in the great strength of his work, was Jachin. And Jachin is, he will confirm. Because in the great strength of God's work, he's going to confirm all this. And the name of that on the left was Boaz. And on the left, we'll find there will be the witness. Boaz is quickly, and it's a way of going. See, it's a way of going. Even those that go, they either are returning to God or they're going away from God. One of the two, but either way you go, you're going quickly. We're going to move forward. Chapter 4. Turn and return.